Hi, I'm Kathy from the Delafield Quilt Company, and today's tutorial is going to be on this pineapple block, just like these ones. So in order to make this pineapple block, we are using foundation paper, and there's a template that's available on our website. I'll put a link in the show notes that you're going to want to download for this finished 7" by 7" pineapple block. Okay, so I've already got my template printed out, and you're going to want to make sure that you use 100% output on your printing settings just to make sure you end up with a 7" by 7" finished pineapple block. Pineapple blocks, they look a little complicated, but they're actually pretty easy to make, especially if you use a foundation paper piecing template or one of the special pineapple rulers that are out there. You could make this without special paper or a ruler. I just prefer this method because it's so much easier. So for my block, I chose to use a navy and an off-white, and you could really use whatever fabric you wanted to use. And actually you can get quite a bit of variety from these blocks by mixing it up a bit. But I'm going to keep it simple and just stick with the navy and the off-white. So the fabric you need for this particular one is basically 1.5" strips that are big enough for whatever piece you're sewing in. With the exception, for A1, you're going to need a 2" by 2" square, and this I'm going to use white for. And then for these very corner pieces, you probably need about 1 3/4" strips for these. So I've already got a square for the middle. I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to hold this up to a light so that I can see the other sides. And I'm going to line that 2" square so it's overlapping all of the sides of the square of A1. And then I'm just going to put a pin to keep it in place. And then if I flip it back over, the next part I need to do is A2 and then A3. I like to work opposite and then build as I go out. And the A2 and A3, and actually A4 and A5, are all going to be the navy. So since we're going to go white, navy, white, navy as we work our way outside of this pattern. So I'm just going to make sure my navy strips are big enough to go over A2, A3. I might as well cut A4 and A5 as well. These don't need to be too big. You do want them to overlap a little bit. And then I'm going to flip these back over. And I want to make sure for A2 I'm going to use the light again and make sure I've got at least 1/4" beyond that line. And I'm going to sew right between A1 and A2. And then I'm going to repeat that for A3 as well. And when you're sewing this, just use a really small stitch. That'll make the paper tear off a lot easier. Okay, I've got A2 on. You want to make sure you flip this over. Just give it a finger press for now. And we're going to sew A3. I did sew a little bit beyond the lines. Typically in foundation paper piecing, I just keep my sewing right to the line. So I start where it starts and I stop where it stops. But I'm finding with the pineapple block, it's okay to go just a few stitches beyond that. Actually, it's a little bit easier, I think, when sewing on the different rows. So before I go on to the next pieces, I'm just going to press these two open. The seam's going to be away from the center. And now I'm ready to put A4 and A5 on. Again, you want to make sure you're overlapping that line about 1/4". You're going to sew A4 on and then A5. Okay, and just like before, we're going to press these open. And normally with foundation paper piecing, I like to trim the excess as I go. I'm just going to wait until I have one more row of white down and then do some trimming. Okay, and just like with the navy, I'm going to cut the strips so that they fit over the next row, which is A6 through A9. You want to make sure it extends upon the lines. And then I'm going to sew the next two. I'm going to sew these opposite each other. And then before I sew on the next ones, I'm just going to press these open. And I'm going to get those other two white ones on. Okay, I'm going to press these open just like before as well. Now that I've got this row of white on, I'm going to do some trimming of what's back here. So very carefully, pull your white piece back so you don't cut what you just sewed on. And then you're going to fold paper back. Keep that white piece out of the way. And I'm going to trim this so it's about 1/4" from the stitching line. I'm just going to eyeball this. And that gets all this bulk off and out of the way. And I'm going to repeat that for the other side here. Again, fold the paper back and then about 1/4". And when I'm doing these, I'm usually only trimming when I get a white row sewn on. You could do it more frequent than that if you see fit, if you see the need for it. Okay. Now we're ready to do a blue row. So again, cut some strips so that they will cover the next section. And for this one, we are on A10, A11, A12, and A13. And just like before, I'm going to sew these on as well. So hopefully the process of starting with white, navy, and then repeating that is making sense. And I'm going to just continue like this. I'm going to just sew my whites, and I'm going to keep going on until I have the whole pattern sewn, and then I'll show you what we do next. Okay, I've got all my pieces sewn on, and now the final part is to just trim up your block. So grab your ruler, and we're going to trim right on these dotted lines, but I'm going to use the 1/4 inch marks on my ruler just to make sure I'm getting a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And then just take your rotary cutter and now you have a completed pineapple block using the foundation paper piecing method. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial today. If you haven't yet done so, please subscribe and visit us at delafieldquiltco.com. Have a great day.